Hi, boys and girls. I'm Mrs. Warner, and today I would like to read chapters 5 through 7 to you from our book, Save Me a Seat. The questions begin as soon as I step out of bus number 7A. How was your first day at Albert Einstein Elementary School, Ravi? My mother asks. Did you make any new friends? Do you have homework? Was the bathroom clean? How many other Indians are in your class? Asks Parama. Amma and Parama have been waiting for me at the bus stop. I could see them stretching their necks to find me, even before the doors had opened. Amma takes my green backpack off my shoulder and carries it as we begin to walk toward our townhouse. I would rather carry it myself, but she insists. My teacher's name is Mrs. Beam, I tell them. Homework is just some reading, and the bathroom is fine. How many other Indians are in your class? Parama asks again. None, I say. I don't tell her about Dylan Serene because I know how Parama feels about ABCDs. As we pass the big pond located in the middle of our community, Amma points to it. Promise me you won't go near that water, Ravi. You might fall in and drown. And I've heard there are leeches, warns Parama. The wind is blowing their saris. Amma holds on to hers with her right hand. Her left hand is still carrying my backpack. Did you eat your lunch? She asks. Please, Amma, can we first get home? I will tell you everything. I say I promise. Why can't you tell us now? Asked Parama. Did you not like the ontma, Ravi? Don't blame me. Didn't I say it was too lumpy? When Parama wants to make a point, she goes on and on and on about it, like the rotating end of an electric drill. Paripa has a trick for that. He wears hearing aids, and when Parama gets going on and on one of her long rants, he waits until she's not looking and then he turns them off. Amma puts down my backpack. I can't believe what is happening. Right there in the middle of the street, she is checking my tiffin box to prove to Parama that I've eaten my lunch. A few kids walk by looking at us curiously. I bend my head, embarrassed, and stare at the spot between my sneakers. My glasses slip down my nose and I push them back up. It's empty, says Amma proudly, holding the box out for my grandmother to see. Parama sniffs. How do you know he didn't throw the lunch away? Amma doesn't say anything, just shakes her head and puts the tiffin box back in my backpack. She and Parama got along much better when they didn't live in the same house. I reach over and grab my backpack from Amma, then run as fast as I can towards number 83. When we first moved to Hamilton Mews, I had trouble telling which house was ours because they all looked the same. But now I can tell without even looking at the number. Wait, Ravi, the door's locked. Paripa is napping, and Appa's at the office. My mother shouts, running after me, keys waving. I wait on the doorstep until she and Parama catch up with me and open the door. As we enter the house, I close my eyes and breathe in. The air is filled with the smell of Amma's cooking. She has always prepared my evening tiffin, a plate of duzas and a cup of Ovaltine, the same thing I ate every day after school in India. I give her a hug and whisper in her ear so Parama won't hear. The umpma was delicious. Thank you, Raja, she whispers back. Dinner is later than usual because Appa's train is delayed and he doesn't get home until almost 8 o'clock. After each bite, Parama complains about the food. The rasam is too runny and it tastes like dishwater. Have you ever heard of spices, Rosni? Appa comes to my mother's defense. Let her be, he tells Parama. Rosni's doing her best. She's not used to having to do all the cooking herself. And I'm not used to having to eat her runny rasam. Parama snaps back at him. Did you know poor Ravi had only lumpy ontma for his lunch? I glance at my mother and quickly change the subject. Most people at Albert Einstein Elementary School don't bring their lunches from home, I say. They buy school lunch, which costs $2.50. Is it vegetarian? Asks Amma. I wouldn't take their word for it, Parama interrupts before I can answer. I hear their salad oil has lard in it. I decide not to tell them about the chicken fingers. Mom is parked at the curb, waiting in the car when school lets out. Her old parking sticker from Mercy Hospital is still stuck in the windshield. She used to be a nurse there, but she had a bunch of other nurses got laid off right before Christmas last year. After that, everything changed. None of the other hospitals around here were hiring nurses, so Mom had to go on unemployment. And Dad took a job driving a truck route because it paid more than he was making at his old job at Walmart. At the end of August, when Mom found out Einstein was looking for a new lunch monitor, she applied for the job without even asking me first. "Hop in," she tells me now, leaning out the window. "No," I answer, too mad to even look at her. "I'm sorry, Joe," she says. "It was an accident, force of habit." "Would a slice of pizza help make up for it?" I shake my head. She broke her promise. Big time. 1,000,000 slices of pizza isn't going to make up for that. "Hop in," she says again. "No," I tell her. "I'm walking home." Walking helps me think. Not that I really want to think about all the crummy stuff that happened today. Is it possible to have a worse first day of school? After my mom drives away, I hear someone calling my name. "Joe!" I turn around and see Mr. Barnes hurrying to catch up. "I was hoping I might run into you," he says. "How did it go today?" I feel something hard swell up in my throat, and for a minute I'm scared I might start crying. But I swallow a couple of times and the feeling goes away. "It was okay, I guess," I tell him. "How do you like Mrs. Beam?" he asks. I shrug. "She's shorter than me," I say. Mr. Barnes laughs and pulls a pack of sugarless gum out of his pocket. He offers me a piece, but I shake my head. Sugarless gum gives me a headache. "How's your old friend, Mr. Somreen, doing this year?" I think about the name Dylan called Mr. Barnes behind his back the day he brought his pink hacky sack to school. A word my mother would wash my mouth out with soap for saying. "He's not my friend," I say, "and no offense, but I don't think he's your friend either." "The world is full of Dylan Somreens, Joe," Mr. Barnes says, unwrapping a piece of gum and putting it in his mouth. "The trick is not to let them get to you." I wonder if Mr. Barnes has ever seen the look on the face of a zebra who's just stepped into a crocodile's mouth. "Thanks for the advice," I say. "If you want, I can write it down for you," Mr. Barnes says, pulling a pen out of his pocket. The hard thing swells up in my throat again. Mr. Barnes knows I have trouble remembering things unless they're written down. "That's okay," I tell him. "And by the way, I like your new tie." I wonder if anyone in Mr. Barnes' class this year will memorize the ties the way I did. Mr. Barnes looks at his watch. He says he's sorry he has to run to a faculty meeting, but that I should feel free to stop by his room any time to chat. "Hang in there, Joe," he tells me as he walks away. My stomach grumbles. I haven't eaten anything since lunch. I think about my mother's offer to take me out for pizza, and I get mad at her all over again. How could she do that? Blow me a kiss right in front of everyone? What part of no corny mom stuff does she not understand? Normally, it takes me half an hour to walk home, but I'm not in a hurry today. Mia, my dog, is waiting for me at the door when I finally get there. She's so happy to see me, she falls all over herself, wagging her tail and trying to lick my face. "Cut it out, Mimi," I laugh, pushing her away. "Your breath smells like liver." Mom has been waiting for me too. One of her cooking magazines is lying on the couch next to her. I can tell she's been crying because her nose is red. "What took you so long, Joey?" she asks. "I was beginning to worry. Can we talk?" "I don't want to talk," I say. I go into the kitchen, grab a couple of oatmeal cookies out of the jar on the counter, and pour myself a big glass of milk. Mia follows me upstairs to my room. I take off my sweatshirt, toss it on the floor, and shut the door. I'm starving, but I'd rather skip dinner than have to sit across the table from Mom after what she did. Later, after my evening shower, Appa comes upstairs to say goodnight. "I didn't even have a chance to ask you how your first day of school was, Ravi. Is it true that Parama says that there are no other Indians in your class? I tell Appa the truth. There is one other, but he's an ABCD. What sort of fellow is he? Appa asks. Funny, I say, and popular. Tell him your IQ is 135 and that you were the first batsman on your cricket team at Vidya Mandir. That should impress him well. I don't need to impress him, I say. He already wants to be my friend. There's no harm in showing off a little. You were top of your class at Vidya Mandir. Does your new friend know that? I don't tell Appa that it's Mrs. Beam, not Dylan, who needs convincing. If my parents find out that she suggested I need special help with my English, they will insist on coming to school to complain. When Amma comes in next to say goodnight, she tells me, I'm making vegetable biryani in the morning for you to take for your lunch with cinnamon sticks and coconut milk, just the way you like it. Thank you, Amma, I tell her, slipping the postcard I received from Pramod a few weeks ago between the pages of Bud, not Buddy, to save my chapter place. Mrs. Beam only assigned us the first chapter, but I'm liking the story so very much, so I've read up to chapter 8. Don't forget to say your prayers, Raja, Amma reminds me. Then she kisses my forehead, and she turns out the light. My first day of school in America is over. And though it wasn't perfect, I did make a new friend. Not only that, thanks to Appa, I have an idea for how to fix things with Mrs. Beam. She told us that in the morning we will be starting with math, and that is going to change everything. Thanks for listening.